Hey, what up squad, it's your boy K-Flow, and in this video we're going to be repairing the headliner on the Toyota Tacoma. Now let's get this thing started. So this is part 6 of getting the taco back on the road, guys. And if you're unfamiliar with the series and you're new to this channel, let's just say on my last adventure I got into a little bit of a bind. So in this series, guys, we're going to be repairing everything that got damaged on the truck, as well as making things just a little bit better. And just to give you guys a little recap. So in part 1, we did remove those front seat belts and the side curtain airbag module. In part 2, we removed the headliner and cut out those deployed side curtain airbags. In part 3, we replaced that damaged side view mirror. In part 4, we installed the sound deadeners on the roof, which was a world of difference. And in part 5, we installed the side curtain airbag as well as the mid console. So in doing some research onto this project, guys, I did find that a brand new headliner is about $1,500. And that's just for a piece of fiberglass with fabric on it. Ain't nobody got money for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Also, I did find that nobody has really done a repair and a replacement of the fabric on the Tacoma. So a lot of this was pretty much figuring out on the go. So I do know how to repair fiberglass because I've done that with some of my surfboards in the past, but I didn't see anyone do the removal of the fabric nor reinstall a new felt fabric onto a repaired headliner. So that's what we're going to be doing today, and we're going to be figuring it out as we go. Just like in all my videos, all the links to the materials and tools that I used will be in the description below. Now let's get to work, guys.
So here is what the headliner currently looks like. Here is one of the tears, guys, from when the side curtain airbags deployed. It tore through this fabric as well as the fiberglass. And you could see it right over there too. On some of the corners, the headliner is peeling off too, and this is also from the airbag deploying, but it's really not as bad. So I'll turn it around so you guys can see the back side as well. So here's another shot of the tear from the back. It curves upwards to the right, and it's probably about 6 inches long. And it looks like there's also little tears from the front here too. So we'll fix that as well.
I'm gonna start with removing the fabric, guys. I will just remove the fabric for now, and we'll repair the fiberglass afterwards. You'll definitely want to be careful while you're doing this. You don't want to damage that fiberglass much more than it needs to be. So here I'm just taking my knife, going around cutting the areas that are a little bit difficult to peel up. So just like the sound deadener, guys, I'll do this in sections. I already started cutting this back portion here, so I'll rip this section of the felt out and then make my way towards the front of this headliner. It's really not that hard to remove this. Just takes a little bit of patience. And this is actually just felt. There's no sponge behind it like a lot of headliners that I've seen. This has been removed. That really wasn't too bad. Took about maybe 10 minutes. Once I get on a roll, I'm definitely going to be able to bang this whole removal out. So I'm gonna try this lacquer thinner, guys. I did see on a different YouTube video that this stuff can melt any of the foam particles that's behind here. But let's see if that actually removes the adhesive a little bit better for this felt material. Because I'm not gonna lie, this thing's tedious and annoying. So if this could make it easier, we'll try that. Make it a mess.
That seems to be peeling up a lot easier. Maybe. Oh, it definitely melted the latex gloves, guys. See if it melts through nitrile. That seems to be making it a little bit easier, actually. Oh yeah, that definitely helps with removing the stuff. Alright guys, my girlfriend's helping me peel this stuff now. The lacquer thinner was working well to remove the adhesive, but I'm afraid that it was also thinning out the fiberglass resin, so I don't want to risk any more possible damage, so we're just going to do this manually. So that's what the headliner looks like now, guys. It actually didn't take that long for me and Rosine to remove that felt fabric, but now it looks like the lacquer thinner actually didn't damage the fiberglass too much, so I might use that method to get rid of this fuzzy stuff. I'll try to mechanically remove it first with like a brush, but if that doesn't work as well, then I'll use the lacquer thinner to get under the adhesive and kind of scrape it off. But so far it's looking good. Then after this is all cleaned up, then we can work on repairing these tears. So the scrub brush, guys, it looks like it's taking some of the felt off, but majority of it's still there. I don't think this method's gonna work. So now I got a little bit of lacquer thinner. Just gonna spread it on there in a small area. Alright, I'm gonna try acetone on this side, guys. See if that helps any. Guys, it's really not looking too good. All this fuzz here is very tough to actually remove. So, gotta go back to the drawing board.
Just then.
So, I'm just gonna throw some resin on there, test a small area, see if that actually gets the felt itself flush against the fiberglass.
The next morning.
So that's how the surface cured, guys. I think I'm going to go with this route actually and just coat this whole surface with the resin. Because this, it's kind of hard to tell on camera, is now pretty much hardened and you don't have the fibers anymore that can come loose. Now a textured surface. So that's also good because we can also get the adhesive to bind a lot better on this resin surface rather than trying to do it on the fibers. And trying to remove the fibers, it's a pain in the ass to do it completely. Even with like the lacquer thinner and the acetone, there's still some of this fibers that's stuck on there that can be kind of pulled up, but it's definitely a lot of work to try to remove it completely. So I'll just resin that whole thing. But since the plans have changed, we're going to do the repairs on the cracks first, and I'll be using a fiberglass resin along with fiberglass cloth to at least give the backing a little bit more strength. So let's get to that now. So here's one of the cracked area, guys. I'm gonna lay down some shipping tape on top so it can act as a backing for the resin when I apply resin on the back side of this headliner. So we'll do that to all the cracked areas and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright guys, so here is the back side of the repair. I did cut a piece of fiberglass cloth that's just a little bit longer than the crack itself. So now we're gonna add
the fiberglass resin, and I'll show you how to mix that later. But we're going to apply the resin on the back side of this, apply the cloth, and then apply some more resin on top. Just trying to run it as thin as I can, just enough for this fiberglass cloth to cover it. We can always cut this fiberglass cloth if we do go past, just like you see right here. And then we can apply a bit more resin on top. It will get messy. And I forgot to mention, guys, you definitely should wear gloves if you're handling fiberglass, because if you don't, fiberglass will get really itchy and will get stuck in your skin for a couple days. It's really annoying. We can cut this lower portion later on, but for now that's okay. So let's mix a little bit more resin, guys. And according to the ratio in the back of these things, it's 1 ounce of resin is about 10 drops of the hardener. So for this usually does come with a little tube of hardener, and we'll just have to kind of eyeball it. Right now I have probably about 4 ounces in there, so we'll have to do like maybe 30 to 40 drops. But I mean, as long as you have hardener in there and you mix it thoroughly, it'll usually cure pretty well the following day.
Later.
So that's what the repair looks like so far, guys. I did do it in multiple places of the headliner, as you can see in these shots right here. And I'll wait about a day before I take the tape off and also do some of the finishing touches.
The next day.
So guys, it looks like our repair turned out very nicely. It's pretty solid right now, and as you can see, there's no separation. There is some flexibility to it, which is definitely what we want. But as you can see, there's like excess resin and excess fiberglass that we'll have to cut. So we'll get to that right now. But I'll show you guys the other parts of the fiberglass liner so you can see the progress on the overall headliner. We did use the masking tape as a backing so that the resin doesn't stick to it. So now let's go around and remove all the tape. We can also cut off the excess fiberglass fabric because there will be a little bit of overhang. So make sure we just clean that up. Go around with a pair of scissors. Make sure you're wearing gloves. Cut off all the excess. Make sure you're also wearing safety glasses. This one's a little thicker, guys, and I'm gonna use my heavy duty shears to cut this off. Yeah, just like that, guys. The repairs on the underside looks pretty good. There's gonna be some bleed through of the resin, but that's fine. We could always sand down the high spots. And at this point, what we'll have to do is clean up this surface. So I'm gonna use alcohol to clean up any type of grease that might have gotten onto this portion of the headliner. Now we can mix up our fiberglass, resin, and hardener. So this time I'm definitely gonna be making a lot more. Just make sure you mix it real well. I'm gonna be using a fork this time. I did pick up a bunch of these spatulas, guys. This will help spread the resin. So with resin, guys, I think you only have about 20 30-ish minutes of working time. So be quick to spread this stuff around. Otherwise, it'll harden on you very quickly. So we'll just do a thin coat of this stuff. Really spread it around with the spatula. So that's all we're doing, guys, just smearing and spreading. Try your best to cover it, every nook and cranny, and really work it into the fibers that's left over of that felt.
3,000 years later.
So here is what the repaired headliner looks like, guys. The fiber is actually hardened with a nice texture to it. So I know this will definitely allow the adhesive to stick properly so that we can have the new fabric on there. Now, there are some high spots, so I'm going to be sanding those down.
I am using a 150 grit sandpaper, guys, behind this sanding block in order to flatten it down. So now I'm going to take the vacuum cleaner, vacuum up all the dust, and then wipe everything down with some alcohol so that we can finally put some adhesive on this bad boy.
So here's what the headliner material looks like. This is basically black felt with this sponge backing, just like normal headliners. And it's definitely gonna look real sexy on there once it's been glued up and flattened out properly. So now I'm just gonna apply the glue and get this material right onto the fiberglass. We'll take it from there.
All right, guys, so I've folded the material over, and I think I'm going to start here in the middle section and work outwards. So I'll probably do like a 5 to 6 inch section at a time, and then work outwards this way, and then do the same thing over to the opposite side. I did apply 2 coats of adhesive on both the fabric side and the fiberglass side. This way, it ensures that there's enough coverage. Now that's really looking quite good so far, guys. Now we'll just make our way to the front of this thing. And a good technique to use so that you know how much you've applied is, as you can see here, I did go east-west first in terms of spray direction, and then I went north-south. At this point, we just make our way forward, doing the same exact thing. I do like to put the adhesive a little bit more heavily on the slopes because I think those will be areas where there's going to be high stress on the material. So areas like this and over here, I'll put extra adhesive. Same thing as here and around this area here. Last little section, guys. So you definitely don't want to stretch out the fabric too much. And what I'm doing is I'm actually pulling the fabric back into itself so it's not stretching, but more along lines of giving it extra material to stick onto some of these contours. Just like that, guys. Getting it all the nooks and crannies. So I did cut out these holes, guys, to make sure that the material is stuck properly on the sides here. And now I'm going to flip the whole thing over and then trim around the excess pieces and also glue them down. Here, I'm giving about 1 inch of material so that we can fold that over. I'm just cutting around and making like relief cuts so that this can be folded onto itself like that. when I add glue on those areas. So now I'm just gonna apply the glue around the perimeter here and then fold everything over.
Graduation day.
Man, this came out really nice, guys. I'm really happy. Not gonna lie, guys, this thing looks freaking sweet. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh. It's almost like suede. But it did match the contours properly, and I'm really happy with how it came out. But it's not perfect. So you can see there are these wrinkles which are a little bit deeper than the other wrinkles that was able to kind of get flattened out. So I wish I did steam out those deeper wrinkles beforehand. So I am gonna try to do that now. So I just want to point out too, guys, for areas like right here where the recess is a little bit deeper, it's not completely tacked onto the backing. I mean, I did as far as I can try to get that indentation in there. But the thing is, in hindsight, I probably should have bunched the material a bit more like here, so I can at least get the fabric to sit more inside the groove. Same thing with like the sides here. Instead of like kind of pulling it taut, I probably should have just bunched it a little bit more around so that I can pull it more taut in here. So try that out. I would also suggest trying it out before putting the fabric glue in there, so that way you can kind of manipulate the fabric without having to worry about the 10 minutes of working time. So that was just something to point out to you guys if you guys wanted to try this. Some of the more shallow contours like here, I got perfect adhesion and I was able to get the fabric to stretch completely inside. So this one came out perfect. So I'm going to be using my Shark steamer. See if I can get this one wrinkle out. I definitely do not want to steam it too much because that will soften the adhesive and it might start separating. So I'm just gonna lightly go over it and we'll see. Oh yeah, look at that, guys. It's flattening out. So the steaming definitely did get rid of that deep wrinkle, guys. But it's a little moist now, so I'll leave it out in the sun in order to dry out completely before reinstalling it onto the truck. So I do have just a couple lessons learned, guys, before I wrap up this video. Number one is the lacquer thinner definitely works well with loosening the adhesive on that felt fabric. And it looks like it really doesn't do much damage at all, if any damage at all, on that fiberglass. So definitely use it, but just don't use too much of it. Number two, I would suggest using the steamer first to get rid of deep wrinkles on that fabric before applying the adhesive to glue it onto the fiberglass. So let me know, guys, what you think about this repair. And if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them, so leave them in the comment section below. So that's it for this repair video, guys. And I think my next video will be to wrap everything up and close the series altogether. I do have a few other future ideas for this headliner, which I'll probably do a little bit later on. So thanks for watching this video. Make sure you smash that like, subscribe, and hit that bell too while you're at it. And until next time, peace out, everybody.